Hello and welcome to Tea Time on PlusTvAfrica with the big stories live. Guys, it's Friday. Please, I'm happy. I wasn't happy before, but now I am, and I hope you're excited as well. I know that today, if you're working, you don't feel like it because you've had like 2 days in between. 2 days in between the week that was free. But we are here and we have to do what we have to do. So we'll make it work. You know how the vibe goes now. I have my co-anchors with me to do the talking, analyzing, the vibes, everything together. Please welcome me. I always keep forgetting.
Neymar.
Neymar.
How can you forget such a beautiful name?
You know what? I always think...
Please,
always
take my introduction to Neymar and Neymar.
The Brazilian footballer.
Yeah,
Neymar.
and I know that that's not the
Is
pronunciation.
it Brazilian or Argentine?
Hey.
Let me just expose myself that I know nothing about football.
I think another thing that reason why I don't know your name as well is because I used to disappear after Tea Time show. Let me put you on the spot, Neymar.
Yeah, because our office is
I don't
upstairs.
see you at all. Like, so I never hear people calling your name or like, you know.
She's upstairs, you know.
Something not feeling like, so I don't understand. You're excluded from
Still we're far away. She even gave you.
As in, like, there's levels to these things, guys. All right, okay. How about you?
I do.
Nobody cares. I'm joking. I have to you, Nema. I'm just.
It's alright.
Okay.
No, it's alright. Nobody cares. That's the world.
It's a lie. I'm sure the audience are like, no, it's a lie. We care. Want to know how Ife's doing. Yeah.
Man, Ife is doing okay. Ife is living. It's the weekend, so Ife is excited. And yes, Ife had a lot to do yesterday, and yeah, a lot went down, and a lot came back up.
In other words, you threw up from drinking a lot.
No.
Basically.
A lot went down, a lot came back up. What if it was an erection?
Ha!
Oh, okay.
Hey, not me. Okay. Anyway, yeah, weekend. I hope you guys have plans. But let's try and dive into some conversations for the day.
Okay.
I'll see how good your memories are. Do you remember when Yul Edochie basically said that we shouldn't leave the country? And we're all basically going to die. So if we're going to die, then why leave? Why don't you just fight with the country and everything like that? So let me open the conversation to the floor. If you think that our aspiring president or governor? President, yes. Yeah. Our aspiring president is onto something. Is it spitting bars or is cacking nonsense?
I think this whole thing started from what's his name now? Also the rock pastor, Ade Farasin, Paul Ade Farasin, when he was saying that everybody should have a plan B, and that yes, he believes in Nigeria, he has faith, but at the same time, he has a plan B, and I think the plan B was to leave, and people have reacted, it's mixed reactions on the internet, some people saying, oh, no, you really don't have to leave the country. But man, guy, the way it is, we're not even safe in any part of the country. Do you understand? So that's why I can, at this point, maybe a few years ago, I could have said, okay, we can't be saying that way. But right now, the country is so insecure that you're beginning to feel like, yeah, that's the only way forward. Even though I didn't have a plan B, I'm beginning to want to think of a plan C, B and C, just in case B doesn't work. Yeah.
Well, as for me, I don't agree with Yul Edochie, whatever he was saying. I feel it's important we have
with you.
A
with
plan.
You or you all? You.
Yeah.
We should all have like a plan A to Z for like being a Nigerian, because things are crazy. There's so much insecurity. You're hearing killings, kidnapping. See, this country is moving to a state where we also have a coup. I can see it coming because the state of insecurity is devastating. And I'm sure the military men are just watching. They're just looking at Buhari. Okay, very soon we'll take over. And when they take over, there will be issues. There will be uprising.
Be patient. It's just 2023.
We need to have a plan B.
Did you guys see the
I don't
news
know what
as
he's
well?
talking about.
Talking about Americans warning Nigerians that they, what's it called, Al-Qaeda and other Islamic terrorist groups are beginning to think of coming to southern Nigeria. So we are not even safe in Lagos. Like they want to, they're now looking at, okay, is that Borno, the north and all those places that they are really taking charge of, they feel like they haven't done enough. So they want to come to like the south, the west, the east, go to all those places and blow them up too. So Americans are now working with them. I don't know if you also saw the businessman who has been indicted for, funding all these what's it called, herdsmen and all these terrorist groups in Nigeria. So actually, I think that's even a step in the right direction, because they're beginning to see a lot of legit businessmen that are funding this guy. Because if you think about it, you'll be wondering how can somebody that sells cow have Kalashnikov, have AK-47s, have bombs, have all those. How? Let's be real. If it was that lucrative, why all of us know they sell cow? Chike, where I'm coming from. Why all of us know they sell cow? If it was that lucrative. So there is funding from somewhere, from people above. So I think they should start, clamping down on those people first.
Yeah, I can't take away from anything you both have said. I think I agree fully. Even with Yul, I think it makes... I don't know what he's trying to say. I think if you're trying to promote patriotism, which is a good thing, like you can say, guys, if you love the country, because patriotism is not part of your birthright of any country, you can decide to be or not be. But, you can try and, like, push for that. Like, if you're one of those people that genuinely love Nigeria and whatnot, your plan A and B to C can be in the country and, you're trying to make it better. And there's always going to be people like that. And we need that for the country to even move forward. So I wish he came about that conversation in that light. But the idea that everybody's going to die, so therefore, I die for the country, makes no sense, because...
I die in the country too.
I die for the country.
Like, first of all, you can have very, like, what's it called, that kind of death that comes too early?
Premature.
And I think Nigeria serves that. So no one is really talking about dying per se. Like, we're not stupid. We know that everybody who's born is going to die.
Exactly.
But, like, no one wants a premature kind of death. Even just statistically speaking, if you go to Ghana, you have 10 more years on top of your age, because the lifespan for them is 10 years above ours. Just Ghana. And then when you move further up, in terms of developments, your years increase. Like, you go to Australia where, like, the people live... averagely on a large scale, 70 years old. Our men here is 50-something and 60-something. And then let's talk about women and childbirth and the level of, and the rates that we die here when you give it to your children here. I remember having that conversation, and I was saying that, celebrities, it's not just about having a green card. It's also just keeping their wives alive and their child alive. We lost so many people. I don't know if you can count how many in this year alone. That Instablog has reported that the one that her twins died. I don't know if you remember that one. There's another lady that the child survived, but the lady died because she was too tired and nobody did anything about it. Those are the kind of things that we're talking about. Not just are we going to die or not going to die? For somebody who's aspiring to be a president, I was very
some people are still traveling out of the country to go and do medical checkup. That is, they don't even believe in a country that they are governing. Do you understand?
Absolutely. So try again, sir. But let's move on to another conversation. And this is from Nollywood actress ikpe-Etim. What he said. She's opinion that there is nothing wrong with surrogacy as an alternative to having children. And Uche Jumbo also got into the conversation and agreed to them and said, like there's probably like a stigma going on in Nigeria about, not being able to carry your baby and all the other alternatives for having children. Then she replied and quoted and said, co-wife, maybe when you realize, co-wife to Uche, when you realize that living your truth is not a weakness and sometimes choices are made just because, then you know that it's valid. And, fans also added to that. And then also, Inse basically now touched on another sensitive thing, that the reason why surrogacy is not necessarily like accepted in Nigeria is because of cultural beliefs and religious beliefs. And those two things, she, in her words, has encouraged miseducation on the idea, and there is a lot that people need to unlearn. Surrogacy. Will you?
This actually brings a story to mind. So there's this religious man, or let's say man of God, that I looked up to. And then we were having a conversation, and then he told me that surrogacy is a sin.
Okay.
Yeah. That you're trying to cheat God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I looked at it. I didn't want to argue with him because he's way older than me. And I just said, okay, sir. So coming back to this, Nigerians and their religious beliefs, it's ridiculous. It's not a sin. It's not wrong. I believe that God that gave people the sense and the innovation to actually bring surrogacy has a reason for it. So if you're saying surrogacy is a sin or is wrong, then that means adoption too should be.
Yes.
Yeah. So
in fact, taking malaria drugs is a sin because
Thank
God
you.
made it like that. He made the
do you
mosquitoes-
actually believe-
the mosquitoes bit you? Why the heck are you taking some
some people
scientifically
don't believe
cooked up drugs
some
to make
people
you feel
don't
better?
some Christians don't believe they should take medicine.
Yes, because of that kind of nonsense
Believe.
miseducation.
So I feel like surrogacy is something that should be encouraged. So women don't feel stigmatized because they don't have a child. And it should be something that we should be able to talk about in Nigeria. We should be able to talk about it. We shouldn't be afraid. We shouldn't be scared or embarrassed. There's no need to be embarrassed about it. So yeah, I think there's a need for reorientation in society.
I think
about
what you want to go?
No, go.
Okay, so I think what I would say is that it's very complicated. In a sense that it's not as easy as adoption because the child is there. You can do some, whatever is. And surrogacy can get complicated in the sense that this lady that is going to help you and the couple carry the child has some kind of rights to the child for a certain amount of time till she hands it over to you. So there are complications. Do you get what I mean? It's not something that you can just like randomly decide. Like you have to do months and months of thorough check, make sure that the surrogate and you are prepared for that kind of stuff. Like you and your husband have to be on the same page. It's not just about the wife wanting it. The man isn't ready to bring his offsprings into the world in that manner. You have to basically all be on the same page, and that takes a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of research, a lot of what's the word? Self-realization. Yeah, like, guys, this is really what I want to do and everything. But the option should always be there. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having options. I think the lack of options, actually, or the drive to want to reduce the options is kind of like in itself oppressive. Like, why don't you want women to have alternatives as to how they can bring life into the world? There's a lot of people that do that, culturally speaking, in South Africa, for example. The Zulus and the Dembes, when a sister has a child, if both of us are sisters, according to the law, our children are siblings. Just as much as my children are siblings. So you see in a lot of times in that kind of society where you can hand me your child and I become so guardian or whatever, I'm the parent and everything, like that happens already in itself. It's not a new thing per se. It's not the
only difference now, it's easy to say that, but like you said, it takes a lot and it comes with complication. There was a movie there is a movie on Netflix currently, and I think it's actually, you know the movie, and it's trending. For the life of me, I can't remember the name. Yeah, and in this movie now, this lady opted for surrogacy because she's had miscarriages like 6 times before she decided to, try that. And then she gave her child, assistant then. They had an agreement, paid her off, paid the husband like 20 million naira and all of that, got them a new apartment, new all of that. So the the carrier now, surrogate mother, took took the child, handed it over to them. She lost her own child while she was pregnant with their own child. At that point in the movie, I was already like, this person may not want to give up this other child, right? But she did. So 6 years, she lost her husband, so she couldn't reproduce, obviously. 6 or 7 years down the line, she was asking for her child back. She went to court, saying, this is my child, this, that. And then they were different now. Why I brought up the movie is not because of what happened. It's because of the education that I got from that movie when the doctor took the stand in court. And the doctor was trying to say, okay, the reasons why it can be a child. Okay, she was supposed to have twins. She had one. So when she had her own child, she was supposed to have twins, and she had one. And the doctor was saying then the egg of the second twins can still be there somewhere. So in the process of fertilizing this and that, they might have fertilized our former twins. Do you understand? And then also saying that if she had slept with her husband, like I think a week before she was going to deliver or something funny, or when the egg was put in her, that it could also be a child. So you see, it's actually very complicated, and I think those are the problems. Things like that are the things that Nigerians will shy away from. So I think, in my opinion, in as much as we can sit here and make it look like, oh yes, surrogacy is an option, which it is, I admire it. I also want us to share as much information as we can. Okay, these are the challenges that come with it. These are the things that you understand. Like there has to be a form of education.
I know that like even adoption takes years to do, especially like if you're doing it the right way, which you should. It takes years. So none of it is easy and very expensive. But that movie is borderline fiction because most surrogacies don't even allow women who are having intercourse with other people who are married, who want their own children. There is a lot. Again, there is a lot that.
But you know, sometimes you might be worried about who's carrying your baby.
You see, those things are fictional, and even if they happen, they are like abnormalities.
Yes.
They are very, very rare. Most agencies, it's almost like having an adoption agency, and then the child still lives with the mother. There's a very rare chance that that's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? So most of the time, these women, before they even become surrogate mothers, they go through intense psychological evaluation to know what their intentions are, what their motives are. Some people are very fertile and have very easy pregnancies. That's the only surrogate mother I've ever met in my life. And she was in Melbourne. So she gets pregnant like this, and her babies are like, what's it called, Kardashian, where you can just pull it out, chilling, she doesn't get any swells, no complications or whatever. But she doesn't have any interest with actually mothering a child to adulthood, and she's been a surrogate mom for almost 18 years when I met her. Wow. So, you know, there's different things like that. People just don't get a random girl, oh, I need money, maybe I should go and carry. They'll see through all of that, and you won't qualify. So, yeah, that movie actually showed that, yeah, there are possible complications like everything in this world, but on a large scale, this is not a joke. This is not a movie. It's very serious. Before you put your embryo in somebody else's body, you take a long time to do that.
She was from surrogacy. We don't tell her.
No, I'm saying the woman, the surrogate mom can come years down the line. That's
people
why
pay.
a lot of people,
you know, there's also
paper.
Yes,
people don't do
there's also
papers,
legal. You see, yes, and
procedure.
I think there's another thing that people don't talk about. There is a heavy legal procedure that comes into that, and I think that legal procedure is very fair because I know that the mother owns the child, the carrier owns the child for a certain level amount of time. So which is why it's a risk, right? It's a big risk, and that's why they try to do psych evaluations.
I think until she hands over the child,
no,
so if she stays with the child, it's her child.
Yes, absolutely.
You understand?
Yes.
Until she gives the child to you, then the child begins to sign. Then that's you. But if she decides after all of that,
of
she
course,
says, "Oh, mom, I know they give
of
her
course,
now."
and adoption agencies are like that as well. Even the ones where you want to adopt a child, like a grown child, you can love the child, foster and everything. When it's time to adopt, the child just wants to stay with you. You pack up. At the end of the day, you are using somebody else's body, and you know you don't have rights over the person's body or the person's child until they hand over those rights.
I still don't understand why I have to wait for someone to hand over my eggs and my husband's
because it was cooked in my body.
I carried the baby for 9 months.
Absolutely.
Yes, but it's my husband's sperm and my eggs.
But his baby's taking my blood. Baby's eating my food.
I just want you to tell me that I'm not giving you back your sperm. I'm not giving you back your
The surrogate mother is doing you a favor.
Anyway, Nigerians are not really there yet. But I'm going to say something very contradictory. As much as I love the idea, I still think that I will push for adoptions first before I push for surrogacy. I think there are just too many kids. There's even too many kids, guys, that love the idea of having a home. Let's start with that, please.